Welcome back to Kids Church. I'm so glad that you're here. Recently, we've been reviewing some of the things that we learned at day camp in the summer, in August. And last week, we learned about the fact that you were made on purpose, not by mistake. On purpose, there's a reason for your life. You also learned that God, the God of the universe, created you in a very unique way and in a beautiful way. And I hope you felt encouraged last week that you are very, very special in God's eyes. And we're going to learn much more about that in the weeks to come. Now, on Tuesday of day camp, I started talking about the fact that there's something in our story. We're all part of a grand story where it's not as wonderful as the Monday lesson at day camp was. And that's about sin, where when we think bad thoughts or do bad things or even act in ways that are not pleasing to God, can separate us in a way from God. Now, I gave a couple of examples of sin in my own life that I want to share with you. And those that heard it once, I think this might be a good review for you. You know, when I was this old, when I was in grade 3, I decided during a spelling quiz to do this. I had done all the words correct so far. I knew that they were correct. I just felt really, really strongly that they were good. And then came the last word. And as I was writing it down, I realized, I'm not sure if it's this way or this way. And so I chose to then look at my friend's test right beside me. I looked, I saw, I actually spelled the word wrong. And this is what I did next. I'm not proud of it. I erased the word. I changed the word. And right then, I heard the teacher say, "Leonard, can you come to my desk, please?" So I walked to the desk. And the teacher said, "Leonard, did you cheat?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And the teacher said, "Leonard, you may now go home 15 minutes early." And as I walked home, I felt terrible. I felt awful that I had decided to change my incorrect word to the correct way. And I felt embarrassed that the teacher had seen me and sent me home. And all the way home, I didn't want anyone to see me. And I didn't want to have to explain to my mother why I was home 15 minutes earlier. Good for me, my mother didn't notice. And still, that feeling was in my heart that I had done something wrong. In fact, it took me years before I actually was able to apologize to God, and He forgave me, and I felt so much better after I did that. I'm going to share with you another sin. There was a time when I was this old that I went to a birthday party, and at that birthday party we were playing Pin the Tail on the Donkey, and there was a prize that you could win. And the prize was this. It was kind of like a science experiment where once you finish it, you would have a crystal cube with a coin inside it. And it would be crystal clear and you could see the coin. Now you would have to do the mixing and I thought that was really kind of cool. So that is the prize that I wanted. In fact, when I put the headband on, thought, I can win this as long as I do this. Just tilt my head up and I could see the donkey on the wall. I got the tail in my hand and pretended I didn't know where it was, and And lo and behold, I got the tail exactly on the donkey where it belonged. And I took the headband off. Oh, I pretended I had just got it exactly right. But when I looked at the parents, kind of went, good job, and gave me the prize that I had cheated to get. And then I looked at my friends, and they weren't that happy for me. And I thought, maybe they knew what was going on. I thought maybe one was thinking, coincidence that he got it exactly right. And maybe another was thinking, he cheated. And I thought maybe someone else was thinking, that's the prize I really, really, really wanted. And he cheated. That's not fair. But you know what? Nobody said anything. But I realized that everybody knew that I had cheated. So when I went home and mixed the crystal and put the coin in and let it sit, and the next day I got it and it was beautiful. But I looked at it and I couldn't enjoy it because I got this prize in not a fair way. And it didn't look as beautiful as I hoped it did because of the embarrassment of cheating. And it didn't take too long that days later I took my prized possession and I put it in the garbage because for me it was ugly because of the sin in my life. So I want to show you using a balloon. This balloon, for me, being black, represents sin. And I'm going to blow this balloon and make it larger. And this balloon actually can get quite large. I will not pop it right away. I'm going to have storyteller Amy help me out in a little bit. But I'm going to take my air pump here and I'm going to blow this up. It's going to make a bit of noise, but it won't pop until I ask it. So here's my first sin. And then I added an extra sin. And there's been other sins in my life. Made it really big. And now Amy is going to pop this. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Do you know what? Do you know why I blew this balloon up and popped it? Teachers, ask a few people why. All right, did anyone guess the reason why I popped this balloon? This is why I did it. I think that sin can destroy. It wrecks the good relationship that you can have with God. And there's only one person that can take this black, ugly stain away and bring the relationship or the friendship with God back. One more object lesson I want to do with you, and that is about the mirror that everyone at day camp on the Tuesday of day camp received. Now, on the outside, we found out that we were created in God's image. On Tuesday, we found out that if we sin, that puts mark on our lives. That's the part that separates us from God. And it actually, if enough sins happen in your life, it actually makes it really difficult for us to reflect the image or see the image in ourselves or other people of what we are actually like, the beautiful things that God has placed in us. And we talk about the fact that we need someone to actually help us get rid of the ugly marks in our lives. And that's the hero we are going to hear about next week. All right, now it's time for some discussion. Teachers, the discussion guide, the digging deeper questions that you received, we're going to be using that. All the instructions are on the paper. I'll ask that you do that. Just remember that you'll need about 15 minutes after the digging deeper questions to play a game, to learn the verse, and to hear a prayer at the end, okay? So give yourselves a bit of time there. So now I'm going to introduce to you Storyteller John.
Thanks, Storyteller Len. Well, hey, it's game time again, and this week we've got a pretty unique game for the classroom. So leaders, we have some pool noodles, and I'm going to get a couple of you leaders to each take 2 pool noodles, and they're going to become tentacles, which you're going to use to try and tag the children in your classroom. Now, obviously, safety is a big thing, so make sure that no one's running around the rooms, and you may want to clear a little bit of space around the desks. For the kids in the room, your job is to try and quietly move around the room so that the octopus can't actually tag you. Because here's the thing, we have a blindfold for each of the leaders, so they're not going to be able to see you. They might be able to smell you, but they're definitely going to be able to hear you if you make a lot of noise. So you need to be super, super quiet. Now, if you happen to make too much noise and you do get tagged by one of the tentacles, then you're going to receive a mark. And teachers, it looks something like this, some kind of sticker, and that's going to get placed on a child, and then you have to sit and you are out of the game until another person comes along and takes the sticker off of you, and that lets you get back into the game. So the reason we play this game is to illustrate something really important. There's lots of things that we want to do and we just can't seem to do. Like when we want to be really quiet so we don't get tagged by the octopus, but we just can't seem to do it, and we start to giggle and we make too much noise. Well, in life, God has given us instruction, and He's shown us how we should live and how we can obey Him to find a life that's purposeful, because we were made on purpose for a purpose. And sometimes we say things and we do things and we think things that are against what God has for us, and the Bible calls that sin. And that sin leaves a mark on our heart and on our soul, sort of like the sticker in our game. When we were tagged, we have a mark and we're out of the game until someone comes along and sets us free. Well, we know that the marks that are on our soul, on our heart, we can't get rid of. We can't have another person, even though they might love us tons and tons and tons. Youth leaders and parents and friends, they can't remove that mark. It's only one person, the hero, that can remove that mark from us, because we can't even remove it ourselves. And next week, we're going to hear about the hero who came to remove the sin stain from our hearts and from our souls so that we could live free once again.
Hey everyone, it's verse time. Today's verse is, sin is crouching at your door. You must rule over it. Genesis 4:7. Now that you know your verse, go to the verse testing station and tell them what it is. After you've gotten it right, they'll give you a ballot to win an awesome prize. Now it's time for Heart Cliff Cross. Last week, we learned about our God and how He created the world. And He said it was good. And then He created humans to take care of the world. And He said that was very good. The only problem is that the humans decided to not listen to God. They wanted to do their own thing. God felt really sad, and it created a divide. Now, God's love is far away from the people, but who is going to help them? Next week, we're going to hear about a hero.